Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Footy Show Daily. We are live on Patreon. I think we might be live on YouTube as well. I think I sneakily might have thrown it on YouTube.
Really?
Just so everybody on YouTube gets to see what we do every day over on Patreon. And because Everton are playing tonight, and we'll be very busy later on. A lot of people will be very busy watching our videos after they've watched the game. So I thought, you know what? Just stick it on YouTube and then everyone gets to experience it. But there you have it. So if you're on Patreon, obviously get involved with the show. Leave us your thoughts, leave us your comments, leave us your stories. Is there anything we've missed today? Anything we haven't seen? Anything we're not talking about? And you want to talk about it? Then get involved with the show. Big story, obviously, from last night. I mean, is it a big story? Liverpool can't reach 100 points this season. It did look like, for a time, they were going to become the record breakers of the Premier League.
Yeah.
But obviously, with the defeat at Arsenal last night, they can no longer reach 100 points. The record that was set by Manchester City 2 seasons ago. I remember it well. Last day of the season down at Southampton. I think it was like a last-minute goal that clinched the win for them by Gabriel Jesus. That's how much that is etched onto my mind. So, I mean, very much just ended up like Blackburn and Leicester, haven't they now? Really, in the context of things.
No. Won the league and deservedly so. It was, listen, when he come back, it was always going to be a big ask. I think we spoke about this. It's when you're so far ahead, can you get those levels back up to where they were? Don't forget, Liverpool's form before lockdown wasn't great. They'd lost heavily at Watford. They'd scraped past Bournemouth. They'd gone up the Champions League. You know, so coming back after lockdown with no crowd there and everything else, for them it was a case of just getting over the line, wasn't it? And when you haven't got that same desire and jeopardy to play for, you can kind of, your levels can drop slightly, and I think that's probably what we've seen.
Yeah, listen, I'm taking the mick clearly. They've won the league at the beginning of the season. Your goal is to win the league, right? Once you've won it, it doesn't matter. No. The fact that they've won it and they had 7 games to play is huge on its own. What they've done since is irrelevant. You know, it's irrelevant they got beat by Man City. It's irrelevant they got beat by Arsenal. It's just irrelevant. They've done the job they were asked to do, which was win the league. And you can understand why the levels aren't as high, because they've got nothing to play for, and it's great going, oh, you got the chance to win the points. They're not asked. All they were waiting for was to pick up the trophy, which they'll do against Chelsea over the weekend, I think it is, isn't it? So,
well, the last home game.
Last home game, isn't it? So, that's all that matters for him. And really, this in-between bit has been like almost like a limbo, because obviously there's no fans to celebrate it in the ground. And it's just been like a limbo, hasn't it? And for the players themselves, they're just like, well, we've done our job. Now's almost like a time to just, naturally, you can never get yourself up to those levels. Never, ever, ever could you put that bar as high as it was, because they're in relax mode. And
I remember Everton doing it when we were good. In '85, we won the league with probably similar amount of games to go or something, and it was just like, we still won a couple of games after it, but we threw games away. And remember, we went down to Luton and played like 9 kids and 2 players. Got beat 2-0 in midweek because there was no point. Got battered at Coventry, which we haven't been doing because everyone had lost interest in it almost. And, you know, we set the record at that time. No one had won it by that many points and by, you know, that amount. So it is what it. Liverpool would have bit your hand off to win the league by 1 point in August, wouldn't he? So they've won it, fair play to them. And let's be honest, realistically, they probably should have won this game.
Yeah,
Arsenal, Liverpool got caught out trying to play out from the back twice, and Arsenal punished them. So fair play to Arsenal. But I think what it does do, though, for other teams is it shows that they're not invincible at all. You know, City, it should have been 5 or 6, 7, 8 even.
Yeah.
That's City. Burnley could have won it at the weekend. Arsenal have beat them last night. So, as good a side as they are, they're not invincible, and I think that, and especially in these conditions, it's
Well, that's what I was going to say as well, and it does show you if you do drop a few percent below what you're expected to. And Arsenal changed the team last night, and their players who were fighting to be in that team, they've got a semi-final at the weekend. They've still got something to play for. Maybe that's the difference, that Arsenal have still got something to play for, where Liverpool haven't. Liverpool their season's complete. You know, they're out of all the other trophies, so their season is complete. They're just waiting to lift that trophy and be able to celebrate properly. Get all the pictures and have that day where, you know, where they're crowned Premier League champions.
not going to be the same, though, is it?
Of course it's not, but I think that's what. But I think everything up to it has just been like.
Just
know what it's like?
It's
like that. Like those few days before you go on holiday, and every day is just.
I knew you were going to.
But every day is just like.
It's a tick off.
You just want to get rid of the day as fast as you can, and you're like, you're not even watching programs, and you're not concentrating, and you're going through all the holiday stuff that and you're wearing crappy clothes because all the clothes in the bag. You know, it's all about that day you're flying out, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not bothered about those days before. So Liverpool obviously got beat for the third time.
Spurs.
Yeah, big win for Spurs,
only
obviously.
3 teams now have took more points than Tottenham since Mourinho took over.
That's an interesting stat.
It is an interesting stat, because obviously a lot of people have been quite critical of him, haven't they? And obviously after the Sheffield United defeat, there was people saying, well, they can't sack him, so what are they going to do? Players aren't happy and all that. And then he's bounced. He beat Everton, he beat Arsenal in the derby. He's now gone and beat Newcastle away, first time Mourinho's ever won at St James's Park. They won 3-1 up there. So, you know, it is interesting when you see a narrative about someone, and yet actually when you get you actually get the real statistics.
And the mad thing is, they're only, I mean, I know they're 4 points behind Man United, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can catch Man United, but in terms of when you look at teams and you create that narrative, you know, Man United are the team going for the Champions League, where Spurs are like in trouble. Well, Spurs have got themselves to 7th place now, 55 points. They're in the box seat.
3 wins in a week, it's massive.
They're in the box seat for I mean, you know, Sheffield United, if they win tonight, they're playing Leicester, aren't they? Would go above them, but they've put themselves in a great position to get that Europa League spot. Yeah, it was a really good win. So obviously, Son, 2 goals by Harry Kane. He's regaining his sharpness. He's getting back to, back to the player he was, and it's a really good win in a tough place. Newcastle have been really good on lockdown.
They have,
they've done really well. So that's a really important win for Spurs.
Really, they were spanked at City, weren't they? But
everyone's been spanked at City.
Other than that, they've been good, and they lost at Watford though the weekend.
They were poor. They were poor. So disappointing last couple of games, and I think maybe that's them flip-flop time now.
Well, they've got nothing to play for, have they? So.
Talking about everyone getting a spanking at Man City, Bournemouth didn't get a spanking. They got beat, but they actually played quite well last night at Manchester City. Obviously got beat 2-0. David Silva. 2-1. David Silva. Gabriel Jesus, and obviously a late David Brooks goal. I mean, don't get me wrong, possession was 72% to Man City, but you'd expect that. But they still had 15 shots. Only 3 of them were on target. Maybe that's why they're in the bottom 3. But they had a real go, and after they scored, they had like a little half chance right at the end, where you just saw that. It was a little bit like Sunday's game against Leicester, where it was like once they sensed the chance, they thought, you know, we can get very much like when they're in the tunnel trying to escape to victory at half time. Very much like, we can win this.
Yeah.
Let's not escape. We can win this. You know, then they go, you know.
They had a goal disallowed as well. It was very tight. King turned it in. It was fraction, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth are where they are. If they'd have actually played the way they've played the last couple of weeks, at the start of lockdown, they might have got out of trouble.
But you know what that is, though, I think? And I think this is a genuine thing. I think Bournemouth, this is what some other clubs don't do, by the way. And some of them are above us. Bournemouth have not recognised at all that they are a small club and their first objective should be to stay up, right? And I think clubs like Burnley and Sheffield United, they recognise that this season. I mean, Sheffield United's first season in the Premier League, understand? But I think that's what Burnley do every year. They look at it and say, we're a 40 points team, and then everything past that's a bonus. Moyes used to do it for us, whether people liked it or not. And I think that's Bournemouth's problem. They thought they were a 8 to 12th mid-table team, and this season it's caught them up. And before they've known it, they were struggling. They were struggling, and I think if they started every season going, yeah, we have to just make sure we get to that 40 points mark, it might be a different thing. And I think that's where the mentality's gone wrong. They've got 2 games left. Southampton, I think, at home this weekend, which will be tough, the way Southampton are playing. Yeah, Southampton. And then Everton, last game of the season, which is guaranteed 3 points.
To Bournemouth?
No, I'm messing. 2 difficult games on paper, obviously. Yeah. But what I would say for both of those games is that they're the team who have to win both games.
Well, they are, because essentially...
No, I know, but what I mean is Southampton and Everton haven't really got anything to play for, apart from one finishing above the other.
We're just the mid... we're battling for mid-table.
We are. Mid-table mediocrity is the thing at the moment.
I mean, Bournemouth on 31 points. Watford and West Ham have got a game in hand. West Ham,
against each other.
They're playing each other. But a point, if they both draw, there's 4 points.
A draw.
6.
If they do the old, who was it who done it?
Austria and Germany. To knock Algeria out.
Yeah.
They
do that.
To you, to me.
Well, let's be honest, loads of teams have done that through the years. If they were to get a point, I would think that would probably be...
Well, it'd mean Bournemouth need to win both games, doesn't it? Which isn't beyond them, by the way. But I think Southampton are doing really well, and I think I'd favour Southampton.
I could see Southampton beating them by a very comfortable score.
If Southampton keep playing with that intensity they've been playing with, then Bournemouth will find it very difficult.
The other game last night, Wolves went to Burnley, were winning with a
great goal.
Raul Jimenez goal with 14 minutes to go. But again, another handball penalty. It strikes again. Chris Wood with, but literally one of the greatest penalties I've ever seen in my life.
But he hit it like he'd missed it, though.
It was wonderful.
Where it went, it was
what it was? Kevin Presley, kind of. Remember it is?
Smashed it in.
Oh, it was beautiful. No, it was a beautiful penalty.
He'd missed a sitter, hadn't he? He'd missed a big chance for Burnley just before, and then obviously they got the penalty, and he took it brilliantly.
And that, I'm not being funny, that's a knife in the heart for Wolves, because...
Well, they dragged themselves almost into the Champions League.
They would be a point behind Manchester City. Man United, sorry. And I know Man United got a game in hand on them. But they would have been 3 points clear of Tottenham, which I think is more important.
Yeah.
And now, the 6th, 56 points. Sheffield United could go above them if they win tonight. Disappointing for them, but good win. Good point for Burnley. That puts them up to 51 points. That means they're going to finish top half this season, I imagine now, which is absolutely fantastic for them. 2 points behind Arsenal, who are on 53 points. So, but that's they've been Burnley again. They've had a fantastic few weeks since they took that beating at Manchester City. They've been brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
He does a good job, doesn't he? He does, whether you like watching him and I don't. No, but just mean like the
style.
The style of it, but no one can ever say he doesn't do a great job, because they do. Well, every year they're fine.
One thing you would say is, obviously we spoke about
horrible to play against.
Yeah, we spoke about it last week. It's a brilliant end of season for Sean Dyche, and he's now, if people do come calling for him, again, or even if Burnley want to keep him longer or whatever, then he's put himself in the box seat there, and he could be getting a few phone calls.
Go.
Well, listen,
that's the problem. The only problem he's got is there's a lot of established managers at what he will perceive as a step up.
I understand that, but I don't think it's necessarily that. I think for me it's, if he stays, what does he do? And that, to me, is the problem. I think it's not about where he goes. I just think that, let's say he went to Crystal Palace, right? I think if he went to Crystal Palace, I think they'd give him a little bit more money. And I think he would be, he'd find the situation a little bit more acceptable. Whereas I think at Burnley, I think it's only ever going to get worse and worse. And it's only ever going to make his job harder and harder. And that to me is the problem. And it's when do you go? When is your
No.
And you know what it actually it reminds me of Moyes at Everton. It reminds me of that situation of you can see. I mean, he didn't obviously he didn't know Machete was ever going to come in and stuff. But it's looking at the situation.
Still
going,
3 years though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's looking at the situation and going. And I know he went to Man United, it's slightly different. But it's going, is this going to ever get any better for me? And have I got to take that chance? And he did take that chance, and maybe he went before he was ready, but he had to go. And I wonder whether it's the same situation for Sean Dyche.
Maybe someone like West Ham might chase Moyes.
I genuinely think Atletico Madrid should come in for him. I think he's perfect. I think he is, I think he's perfect for them. But imagine him in a foreign country. I think I would love to see that. Sean Dyche in a foreign country doing press conferences. But imagine he went to Italy or somewhere and he was fluent, but he had his own accent. That would be, honestly, that'd be amazing. I'd love to see that. Be amazing. Be like Julio Giorgio.
As long as he's not like Steve McLaren. How do you say? Fantastic.
Imagine
How do you say in England?
Well, that's the opposite,
How
though.
do you say in England? Champions League.
That's the opposite, though.
No, Steve, you're from Derby.
That's having their accent, but still speaking English.
Still speaking English. And then asking how you say in English.
Gary Ward says, and I seen this last night, Tim Howard was back in action last night. Playing behind 901. A turnover-prone Swiss cheese back four. I mean, that's one way of saying crap defence, isn't it?
Is that what he was getting at?
Tim didn't look very happy. Memphis lost 3-0 to Birmingham. In front of a very sparse crowd. I mean, at least they had a crowd. She says, yes, Birmingham allowed spectators. Well, it is, isn't it Birmingham, Alabama? I mean, that sort of tells you everything you need to know. Yeah. There you go, Tim still
doing it. Said he was.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Fit. Brentford in the Championship, they beat Preston 1-0 to keep their Championship dream alive.
Well, it's a Premiership dream alive. Premier League dream, but actually, it's not Premiership, it's Premier League.
Moving in a point to West Brom with that win and 3 points behind Leeds. Obviously, Leeds have got that game tonight, but Brentford flying out. Absolutely. I hope they get up. I really do. I hope I like West Brom.
Playoffs.
I've got no problem. But I hope if Brentford don't come up in the top two, I hope they come up in the playoffs because they've been great. What they've done over.
Well, Leeds play Barnsley in 14 minutes.
14 minutes.
So
Leeds 7, Barnsley 0.
Leeds be promoted. They win that.
Promoted tonight.
So that'll be nice. For them. I mean, no.
Would they?
Not for anyone. For them. Not for anyone else. So yeah, but be nice. Brentford, lovely football team, new ground.
But they've shown that whether people like it or not, if you play the money ball properly, the analytics, and you do it stats based, that you can get round big money, because there's a lot of Championship clubs that have spent big money and there's particularly ones who've had parachute payments and everything. And they've just used the analytics to get themselves stronger and stronger, and hopefully it'll end with them playing in the Premier League next season.
Yeah, I'm just trying
over in Serie A.
Trying to find the fixtures for their games.
For Brentford
and
give me a sec.
They don't seem to be playing this weekend.
Yeah, Brentford fixtures. So they've got
Stoke
at the weekend.
At the weekend, that's at 12:30 kick-off. Who are West Brom playing?
They've got Stoke and then Barnsley for their final two games.
That's a decent 2 games. But Stoke will be tricky because it picked up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who West Brom have got, but
Therese Campbell, Super Kev's son's been scoring goals.
Yeah.
West Brom are at Huddersfield tomorrow.
Tomorrow
5.
Is it? Or that'll be.
And then they've got Queen's Park Rangers at home. So that's their last 2 games.
So it could come down to that one,
Jonas Larsell. And obviously Leeds have got the game like you just mentioned tonight, which I think they'll have no issue with whatsoever.
Keith Powell says, would you take bets that Leeds fans stay at home when they qualify for the Premier League promotion? Keith, I'll be honest with you, mate. The way it is in this country.
The chairman's come out and said don't.
Yeah. No, but what I mean is though, by the same token, it's a bit of a free for all anyway in this country. Like,
well, they've still got 3 games. They've got Barnsley at home. They beat anyway, but then they go to Derby at the weekend, and then they've got Charlton at home. So Leeds are comfortably back in the Premier League. Serie A games last night. Bologna drew with Napoli 1-1. AC Milan beat Parma 3-1. Sampdoria beat Cagliari 3-0. Juventus drew 3-3 with Sassuolo.
Sassuolo of all
Sassuolo. Danilo, Higuain and Lobo Silva. No goal for Ronaldo, surprisingly. Yeah, Sassuolo had 22 shots, Juve had 21. Give them that extra point at the top. They're 7 points clear at the top of Serie A. Atlanta have been fantastic the night before, hadn't they?
There's a full programme of the Liga tonight, isn't there? I think.
Yeah,
I think Real Madrid can win the league tonight.
They can win. They've got. I think it is. It'll be the first time since Ronaldo's left that they've won.
They can win the league tonight. If they win tonight, they'll take them to obviously 86 points.
They're at home to Villarreal.
Yeah, with 1 game to go. So Real Madrid can win the league tonight. If you're interested in Spanish football.
Barcelona have Osasuna at home.
Yeah.
All the games obviously kicking off, apart from Valladolid, Sandro inspired, who kick off at Eibar at 5:30. Every other game's 8 o'clock.
There you go.
And Romelu Lukaku in action tonight.
Spal.
That's Spal.
There you go, that's Spal.
What a name of a football team.
Well, it's more of a, if it's a, might be the area, mightn't it? Just seeing as well, little story there saying Paris Saint-Germain are trying to tie Neymar down to a longer contract, which is quite interesting after everything that's happened in the last year with Barcelona, very much after him, trying to secure his services. It'll be a bit of a turnaround because he basically did say as well that he wanted to go back to Barcelona. There you go. I mean,
BBC.
Bit of a lie, but...
Yeah. Massive lie.
Sorry, it was just a banner saying Everton are magic.
But
that'll be an interesting turnaround, won't it? Because that'll be it, won't it? I mean, that'll be...
27, as you know. So, getting into this final, like, the moments of the career where you'd say it's your best moments, if he's committing again to them. Is it a little bit of a Wilf Zaha situation? Where he's committing and then, if it doesn't work, it's not going anywhere.
He must know no one's coming in. Barca aren't coming back for him.
It's too expensive.
And he's got it cushy there. So why not? You're part of the team.
Mbappe's more likely to go now than him, isn't he?
Well, I mean, that would seem the case if that's... I mean, I'm not saying it will, because they'll obviously be trying to keep all of them.
It's Icardi, isn't it? Because Cavani's gone.
Well, Icardi's signed now.
So we've got Icardi, Neymar and...
But he might think now with Icardi that they can genuinely...
Do more
in Europe. I mean, they're not really... We've said... I mean, I don't know how many times we've spoke about it. They're just... Playing in the French league is absolutely pointless for them. It is just so pointless. And there has to be... They will be the club trying to force through something different. And I mean, they would be a club, because we've heard about this Champions League difference in Champions League. They'd be a club that would actually benefit from like a Champions League expansion, where it was like you were playing Champions League like every week.
Yeah.
And almost like the French league was a
Super
side.
League, isn't it?
But that's what I'm saying. So the French league was almost like a side thing.
Kick them out. Put them in a Champions League, Super League. Because that's what they will be pushing for. There's no question about it. It was one thing meant to mention before when we would start with Arsenal Liverpool, but Arteta come out after the game and wasn't happy that he's apparently said there's no money, and the way he's speaking is almost like he didn't realise what the situation was, which we kind of did, because they've been saying that for a while.
I seen that interview and I just looked at it and thought, you knew exactly what you were getting, because you wouldn't have got that job if there was a big pop, because I remember when he got it and he was like, oh, we've got challenges, blah, blah, and I thought, yeah, and that's why you're the manager. That's why they give you the manager and not someone else. So you understand. So everyone understands. The fans understand, bringing in a manager who's never been a manager, coach turning into a manager. You understand, but that you're not going to get that much money, but you're going to get time because you're a young manager. If you set that straight from the start and say, we want to get back, but it's going to take time, and you've got to afford this fella. It's another reason is he's was a player there. Again, gives you time. That to me all makes sense, and I think we all knew Arsenal didn't have any money because that's.
Do you think he could benefit the same way, say, Lampard's done this year? Because I know it wasn't because Chelsea didn't have money last summer. It was the fact that they had the transfer ban, so we couldn't spend it. Whereas Arteta sounds like he's not going to be able to spend it.
I think that's exactly the blueprint that Arsenal were looking at. Was probably, I know it was a bit earlier, so you couldn't. But I think, you know, you look at that. If you say to him, if you say and you set you've got that job, and we will give you time, and you can develop young players, and there isn't any pressure on you because you've got better players. And I thought, certainly a couple of weeks ago, and again, we can talk about our own experiences when we had Moyes. It was always a case of keep your players. The best players, and develop a few others and bring a couple in. And when he signed all those players a couple of weeks ago on new contracts, you looked at it going, you've got no money, because you wouldn't be trying to keep all these players. Now, if they keep Lacazette, and they keep, more importantly, Aubameyang, then that's their successful signings.
But a dangerous front two.
Yeah, very dangerous. Then that allows...
And they've got Saka.
Who they got a new contract. Yeah, and that allows those younger players then. They've got that kid coming in.
Pepe as well.
Got Pepe, they've got a kid coming in at the back.
Saliba.
The goalie this goalie they've got looks better than their normal goalie.
So the foundations are there.
Exactly, and then you build on that.
I think his problem is, it's almost twofold. I think what he's saying there is we can't close the gap on teams above us if we don't have money to spend, which is a little bit short-sighted, I think. Because I don't think Lampard said that last summer. I think Lampard... Because don't forget, a lot of people sat there last summer, we did, and went, not sure about Chelsea. Because they'd finished the season going that way.
They got beat 4-0 first game of the season by Man United.
Yeah, United destroyed you, but they'd finished terrible under Sarri. So we were looking and going...
They won the Europa League.
No, but some of the league. Seemed like Bournemouth battered them 4-0 and Watford beat them 3 or 4-1. Seems like that. They come to Goodison and we battered them. And that was with Hazard was in the team, then he went. And were you looking going, not sure about these. These could be anywhere between 4th and 10th. And Lampard come in and just went, like, well, I've got no money to spend because I can't. Not allowed, so we're just going to work with what we've got. I don't know whether Arteta's maybe thinking too far up the table. Instead of just going, we've got no money, and therefore this is going to take a bit of time. You're going to have to be patient. The only other issue is Arsenal fans seeing what they were like with Wenger when he Champions League every year for 22 years or whatever, and they still give him stick and we're still stamping the feet. I know a couple of those who stamp on the feet won't be allowed on Arsenal fan TV anymore, but people who were banging the drum for not good enough. If Arteta's got them and he's trying to build them and the 7th or 8th again next season, I don't know whether he's a big enough character to last without that pressure being put on him.
Maybe it was just that one question and it's caught him and he's basically just gone, no. I think maybe he could have gone, we've just beat Liverpool 2-1,
that's what he should have. Maybe a more experienced manager would have gone, we just beat the champions here 2-1. I know it's not the time maybe, or because I know Ancelotti's done that a couple of times with us, hasn't he? Just the experience going, we'll talk about that at the end of the season, this isn't the time. I see Mourinho saying something the other week when he was getting dingy, although he did walk out of a press conference the other day, but who knows.
Gary Ward says as well about the game last night. He says Jose Baxter didn't do much. He started but got subbed off in the second half.
Oh, he's gone there, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he took him there, didn't he?
He said he looks to be a corner taker.
He is a dead ball fella, isn't he? This one, which I thought was really interesting because this was bouncing around yesterday and in our WhatsApp group as well. Spain's health minister says he doesn't think fans are going to be able to return to stadiums when the new season kicks off. He said, to be honest, I don't see it. The reality we're in just doesn't enable it. There's still clusters of infections, and although we've fortunately been able to control them, I just don't see fans returning.
And nor should they.
No, and that's kind of my view. As much as I can't wait to get back to Goodison, I just don't see it. I honestly don't see it. The way it is, how can you do what we're told we can't do, which is gathering large crowds?
Don't forget as well that you've still talking about something that is still around, still keep killing people. And this is the other thing that people may forget. You're in a football. You're going into a football season. You're going into a ground, and then you're going into winter.
Yeah.
And you know, when do you pick up? This like summer's supposed to be the time when you're not sick. You're going into autumn, wet, cold. When we all pick up bugs and we're getting, you know, the flu or a cold, you add that into the mix, and then we're all coughing and we're all breathing on each other more often because we've all got splutters.
You'd have to have
no, I know, but you know what I mean.
But it's like the toilet facility. You can't.
We're all spluttering, we're all coughing anyway because of other stuff. No. You know, you're all.
I just don't see it at the moment, and I don't see even a percentage of it because I don't see how that works either. What about? I thought this was really interesting that Solskjaer had said to Anthony Martial, if you want the number 9 shirt, you know, go and prove yourself. And he's been flying, hasn't he, since they've come back. They look really good, the front 3 or 4 for United. So sometimes you need that, don't you? You need that that gauntlet thrown down to some of these players. What did you? Sorry, just because it's come back here. What did you make of Trent Alexander-Arnold's challenge on?
It was horrific.
On Saka.
And it was a red card. But
VAR didn't look at it.
No.
Which I find incredible, really do.
Whereas that kid for Arsenal the week before against Leicester gets sent off for something very similar. Very, very similar.
Yeah. It's been mad the way they've picked and chose some things this year, certainly with certain teams. England being announced to play in Wales again, another indication that fans won't be back in stadiums. They're playing October the 8th at Wembley and it's behind closed doors.
Nonsense. Utter nonsense.
I don't understand why they're playing that.
Why don't they? Number one, I know why they're playing it. They're playing it for money. They're playing it to get England on TV. And if it's against Wales, then... Team news?
No.
Oh.
It's 1 minute of the team news. This is interesting, very interesting. Real Madrid very confident that Kylian Mbappe won't sign an extension with PSG. Which I think's interesting because obviously we've just been talking about the Neymar stuff and he has, so...
There you go. But going back...
He mentioned Benzema, didn't he? Going to PSG.
Yeah. No, I think that'll unfold. Going back to the England thing, I think what it is like you play at Wales, you get a big audience, you can sell the rights to the TV, and it gets some money. Because don't forget, they're down. England, the FA in terms of England are down. A tournament, a kit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people going to Wembley to watch them.
And then all the merchandise from FA Cup semis, FA Cup final, all the playoffs.
So they're down a hell of a lot of money. So. Right, the Everton team is... Oh, you're going to love this one, Baz. It's got all your favourites in it. Jordan Pickford, Holgate, Keane, Coleman, Dean. Centre midfield partnership of Tom Davis and Andre Gomez. On the right, it is Iwobi. On the left, it is Bernard. Up front, Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Okay.
There's and the bench is... Stecklenberg. This is hilarious because there's someone not on the bench. Stecklenberg, João Virginia, 2 goalkeepers.
But João Virginia, is he your cousin?
João Virginia,
you said.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Baines, Sigurdsson, Walcott, Sidibe, Keane, Branthwaite, Anthony Gordon. So Benny Beningame hasn't even made the bench, but we've got 2 goalies. That means that Benny Beningame is officially worse than a goalkeeper. There you go.
Ginger.
There's a goal. There it is. So Anthony Gordon drops to the bench. Okay.
Not him. Anyway,
physically, maybe
it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. Nothing
what
really
I mean
matters.
is, it's a case of just getting the season finished.
Nothing really matters.
The
Aston Villa
those players.
Team is Reina, Elmo Hamady, Konza, Mings, Target, McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Hanrahan, Trezeguet, Samatta, Grealish. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Interesting.
That is the Everton.
They'll be fancying it, mate.
Of course they will.
They will be fancying
8-0 Aston Villa. There you go. This has been the Footy Show. Don't know why I started in that accent.
No.
We're going to be back live in about half an hour's time to do the Everton versus Aston Villa watch along. If you want to join us for that, please do. That'll start around 5:30. So get involved. Thank you for watching Footy Show Daily. We'll see you later. Bye.